Hey everyone, I'm back with another Ableton project walkthrough. This time it's going to be for my latest track, Harbinger. And yeah, let's dive right into that. I'll give you a preview of what Harbinger sounds like. I think starting from here.
Time is the harbinger. Time is the harbinger of death.
As a short clip of basically the main idea of Harbinger. So I think the theme for this track is kind of like, so what was I even really going for here? I think the theme of this is that death is inevitable and time is kind of a constant reminder that we are always approaching death and time is what brings you to death. I don't know, something kind of dark like that. Let's start with the kick here. What kick did I use? I think I used some melodic techno kick sample here. So I was kind of going for like a softer, rounder kind of kick to start. I don't know if you would know what that would mean, like a round sounding kick. Like if I had to describe a round kick to you, that I think that's what it would sound like. Like a I guess a thumpy kind of kick drum. What processing did I put on here? Roar, drum bus, put on a couple of racks here for to make the kick sound a little more punchy. I think it just adds a little bit of crunch and a click to the high end, and there is a reverb rack that adds a little bit of kick rumble. There's an EQ here, but it doesn't really do too much. I just lowered this frequency here and kind of smoothed out kind of cut a little bit of the low end. See, there's not really too much going on for drums. It's just closed hat, like constant closed hat, and 2 layers of open hi-hats, and this is what you get. Yeah, really nothing too special here. There's not a lot of drum action in this track. But damn, does that open hat pack a punch? Sounds like it's gonna like pierce my brain, but really not too much processing going on with the drums here, the hats. It's just EQ, reverb, drum bus. That's it, like a little bit of added crunch to it. The ride here is just every time the kick happens, I would play the ride. It's a lot of reverb on that, just to like keep that sound going, just like a little like in the back and washed out. A snare roll pretty much only for the build up. I have this MIDI set up so that it would just go on straight 16ths, and then at the end I think I have do I even have a triplet section here? I think I do have one on this one, but what I do is I ramp the velocity. I would just highlight this whole thing and then go to the ramp down here and just like hold down and adjust the ramp so that it starts off with a low velocity value and then ramps up as it goes on towards the end here. And that is pretty much an easy way to make a snare build. Clap reverb, this just happens right before the drop. It's just a clap with erosion on it, reverb, drum bus. It's a long reverb, very snappy clap. So in context, it would sound like. Bass. I have 2 bass layers. This bass here, a very low part of the bass. Yeah, I just have the sub and a bit of the mids in this one. Which one am I using? I'm using this preset called Polar. Put a little hybrid reverb on there, some roar and drum bus. If you didn't already know from one of my other walkthroughs, I use roar and drum bus on like almost everything. It's just so good. And then I have this second bass layer where I cut out the low end and just keep the mid to high end. This is pretty much a psytrance bass line. Yeah. So I use the highs from the mids and highs from the psytrance bass line and just stack it on top of this. Put it together with the kick. I've been putting some heavier sidechain on it for this track just because I wanted to try cleaning up the low end some. Trying to practice. I'm trying to avoid having low end sound muddy. Acid. I just love acid too much. I love using this acid synth. It's called Fusion 2, and I'm using this scene called Gut Feeling and this synthesis preset called Silent and Deadly. And I changed a few things around, modified a few things, and it's gonna sound like this. So how much is opened up here? So when I think it's called Silent and Deadly because when the cutoff is very low, it'll sound like this. So like pretty muted, you know, but when you open it up some, you get this sound. Very drastic change in character. So when you start low and start opening it up slowly, it's pretty cool, right? You open it up more. Yeah, opening up more slowly, yeah. There's that acid sound you all know and love. Let's see, stabs. I have basically just one stab. I have 2 stab layers, but it's really just one. This one is the main stab sound. It's more like an acid shot. Like an acid shot in like this rhythm. And then I would have a stereo layer here. This one would be wide. You can hear that in the like left and right channels. And then this one is more the center, but with a little bit of delay. Roar and drum bus, of course, a little bit of reverb. This together would be like, I use this as kind of a call and response. It's like a call and response with the chords here, which I will get to. So this chord, I have actually 2 layers of spire in this rack here. So the first layer, I have this preset called Nuclean chord, and by itself, it's gonna sound like. And then there's the second layer. I use a preset called Rave chord. Yeah, so I liked the characteristics of both of these chords, so I just like smash them together just to like make a more epic sounding, more like a bigger sounding chord. chord stab. Yeah, so you can hear there's a lot of reverb going on. There's a shifter that I put on here, vocoder that shifts the formant a bit, put some roar and drum bus, reverb, delay. I think this is just, yeah, this is just for like stereo effect. What's going on here? I think I just threw this preset on in Fab Filters just because it like makes a cool effect. So yeah, and then with this chord and these stabs, it makes like a call and response. And then throw in these reverse chords. I freezed flattened the stab here and took the reverb tail and just made a reverse chord audio. So by itself, it's gonna sound like that. And then put these together. You're gonna hear the reverse here lead into the chord stabs. Pretty cool effect. This keys channel. The keys channel, I really just have this at the beginning and the end. Yeah, I just have it in the kind of the intro and then kind of at the end of the track. And this is from like Ableton's voice box pack. It's under Chromatic Voices, Av and Veronica. It's somewhere in here. Yeah, okay. So it's under basic voices. I just took one of those voice box instruments, threw it on here, found a setting that I liked, and kind of just it acts like as like a kind of like a eighth note pattern arp. What do I have on here? Shifter, amp, roar, EQ, reverb, delay. Basically all the typical stuff that I've been throwing on. Drum bus. It's also sidechained. So yeah, I have this in the intro going into the break.
Time.
All right, and the lead is actually pretty cool. I think it was kind of a bit of a happy accident because I've been having a lot of trouble trying to find a nice sounding lead, and I kind of just landed on this one. It's called Elegy, and this one sounds like something you would hear at like an orchestra when you open up the filter some. In the beginning, I would have the cut pretty low, and then I would open it up some more as you would get like closer to the end of the break. So this sounds like, it sounds more muted in the beginning, and then when you open it up, like I'm not sure like what kind of instrument that sounds like. It's almost like a mix of like violins and horns. Like if you were playing this in like an orchestra.
Time.
Yeah, it was a very interesting lead sound that I found. Then I would have this same kind of thing repeat from, I would kind of like just tease this sound in the middle of the first drop and then have it lead into the break, kind of like sit in the background and then have it get louder, become more prominent as it gets further into the break. And then when it gets closer to near the end, where you build up more tension, you open it up some more. Things get like really tense here. So when you hear this section, here's the build up, raise the tension with this like repeating, like ominous kind of lead sound.
Is the harbinger of death.
And now the vocal, yeah, the harbinger of death. So I took a bunch of different vocal samples that I actually created the samples with text-to-speech web apps. So I would just like think of some different words that I would want to say in the track, because I couldn't really find any vocal samples that I liked that I wanted to use. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna make my own. I went on the internet and looked up how I could make like a text-to-speech, like kind of realistic sounding voices. And I chose like English Scottish accent, typed in like time is the harbinger of death. And then there's this like one meme, I guess it's a meme, something about the unstoppable forces of time. I'll just have you listen to it here. I'll just play the full thing.
The unstoppable marching of time. That is slowly guiding us all towards an inevitable death.
Yeah, so those three phrases, so that is apparently from some meme. You'll have to look that up. But I took that and I thought it would be pretty cool to just like use those lines in the break here just to make things sound ominous. And I would have time repeat a bunch. Time is the harbinger, and then once you get to the end of the break,
Time is the harbinger of death.
yeah, once I get to this part, I would cut out all the sound and just leave it just saying is the harbinger of death, and then just have the lead play as kind of like a pre-drop. What processing did I use on the vocals here? Altar Boy, I think I only have Altar Boy on that one part where they say, yeah, it's the harbinger of death. Although it's supposed to sound like,
Is the harbinger of death.
yeah, that's what it sounds like. Have this speech enhancer on saturation, shifter, and wibble. I think wibble is a preset of shifter, and I just played around with the settings here along with shifter. And without shifter and wibble, it would sound like,
Is the harbinger of death.
you know, it sounds normal-ish, right? Sounds like a normal person talking. And then when you turn on the shifter and wibble,
Is the harbinger of death.
sounds more ominous. What did I put here? Clarity. I've been liking the clarity and stabilizer plugins. It kind of acts like a soothe too. Kind of acts like that. Kind of have to play around with it a little bit to make it act the same way, but it is to, you know, make things sound more clear, and also you can use it to tame harshness, especially at the high end. I put some delay and reverb and drum bus for, you know, saturation, and then I would have the stabilizer at the end for resonance control. Let's see, vocal bed. This is a sample I found in one of the oversampled vocal packs. Is it a vocal pack? Which one was this? Oversampled X, Project X. So I think it was this one. Yeah, so I really liked that one, and I just took it apart, basically did the first half of that 4 times over, and then the second half 3 1/4 times over, so it would sound like you would cut out the highs and then gradually open it up so you can hear all of it. But I do cut out a lot of the lows because that is taken up by the respace I have right below it. So I have this kind of dark but noisy respace going on in here just to, I don't know, set the mood of the break, make it sound a little menacing. So then I would have these playing together. Yeah, respace, not too much going on. I put Roar drum bus on it to fatten it up. I have a compressor on here that's sidechained to the vocals so that it gets out of the way of when the vocals start playing. Just the vocal shots here, get that lane out of the way. I don't know why I kept that up. Then I have 2 pads here. So this pad sounds like, if you can hear that, actually this one pad is actually 2 layers. This one is called Conspiracy and the second layer is called Church. So these 2, let's hear what Conspiracy sounds like. And then Church sounds like, not sure if you can really hear that one. Then together, and then once the chords actually start playing, kind of like an angelic sound. Then there's another pad channel, which I'm using one of the Ableton voice box instruments. Not sure if you can hear that one with this pattern, but it sounds like this when you bring the chords in. Adds like another like angelic sounding layer. Kind of sounds like an organ a little bit. Yeah, I would have the chords playing in the second break, leading up to that break, and the second part of the second drop. So for effects, I don't really do too much processing on effects. It depends on what it is, but it's mostly just sweeps and reverses. Like we'll check out this effect here. I just got a bunch of different effects in random places. I think I just use this as kind of like a bit of percussion in the background, just a little ear candy, I guess. I don't know. I needed to fill a little space because some parts felt empty, so I just dropped like a few different sounds panning around. And there's this one. This is one of those sounds that you can just, you feel it more than you would hear it. Yeah, it's a swell, you know, you can kind of more so feel the sound rather than like hearing most of it. So this ticking sound only happens, actually no, it happens, there's actually 2 samples here. The main one is the clock sample, the clock timer. I just have this running during the break. Start a little more muted at the start and then open up that filter as it gets to closer to the end. This is another one of those tension builders. Put that in the build up right before the drop.
It's the Harbinger.
And you hear this. This is a reverse. It's like a wind up reverse of like a wind up clock sound. So by itself, it would sound like. But it's just like a little cool reverse effect that also has that clock theme to it. The time. I also use it as a bit of a fill, a transition into different sections. See what else we got here. A noise hit. Just a bit of noise like every 8 bar. Is it bars? 8 measures? Bars? I think it's 8 bars. Noise up effect. Just really to just help with transitioning to the next section. Same with this noise up. Yeah, there's just a bunch of different noise sweeps and stuff going up and down that really help with the transitions to other sections. This noise down and these three noise downs, they're kind of like noise downs but also impacts. So depending on the section, especially when it gets to like a major part like the second drop here, I have 2 layers of impacts that also down filters, just to make that going into that second drop very hard hitting, impactful even. This riser only happens once. I forgot what this sounds like. Yeah, this just a riser. Going into the second break, I have this cymbal transition sound. This one goes into the second break. Really only happens a few times. Let's go into the second break and the end. There's the sub impact going into the second break. Might need headphones to hear that one because it's like it's an impact backed with a like a sub drop kind of. It's like one of those sounds that you would hear in a movie, a special effect. This sub drop is layered with this impact. I think this is where we would get to, yeah, it's just sub drop. You layer it on with the subby impact there, and this is the part where things just like, you know, start getting intense.
It's the harbinger of death.
Yeah, like once the vocal announces that time is the harbinger of death, and then things just go boom. It's atmosphere. This is really just to like fill in some space, fill in the blank in the beginning of the second break. Little atmosphere here. Wait, going into this section.
The unstoppable marching of time.
I think like without that.
Is the harbinger. The
So it's like
marching of time.
you don't really get it doesn't really have that same feeling. You just need something there.
The unstoppable marching of time. That is.
Where is that sound here? Oh, there, I missed another effect up here. So this one only happens once here in the break, and it's like this glass, like crystal-y kind of thing going on in the background. Like this is really like an ear candy thing. It just happens as soon as you get into the second break. You can kind of hear that like sparkle trickle in. And then you've got risers. We can focus on, you know, this riser here. This is a really long riser, by the way. So I think this goes for 16 measures. So normally Spire, the riser preset that I would normally use only goes for 8 measures, I think. I just kind of let that ride out. So for this one, I had to edit the preset because normally it would stop at 8 measures. So I had to edit it to make it last 16 measures long. So I would have this riser going, the reverb is set to 34% at 6.9 second decay. Nice. And threw a shifter on it just to make it sound more interesting. And then I would raise the reverb and just kind of let it ride out. I would let it ride out and then like lower the dry wet as it approaches the second drop. So it would sound like
Is the harbinger, the unstoppable marching of time that is slowly guiding us all towards an inevitable death. Time is the harbinger. Time
is the harbinger of death.
And yeah, that is Harbinger. By the time this video is out, the song should already be released. You can listen to it at pretty much anywhere you can stream music. You can download and buy the track on my Bandcamp at lation.bandcamp.com. You could even stream it from my YouTube channel. And yeah, hope that was fun and educational. Hope you got something out of that. And thank you for the support for my music projects, and see you again next time. All right, peace out.